The Running Warehouse Ballarat Marathon is back in April with flatter and faster courses, more entertainment and an expanded expo. The half marathon is now sold out and the full marathon is almost 90% sold. So sign up today at ballaratmarathon.com.au to lock in your place on the start line.
Welcome to episode 8 of the Road to Ballarat series. Race week is here and tonight we'll be joined by the favourite for the women's half marathon. But before I introduce her, welcome to the man who's on track for a massive PB and who's kept this show alive thanks to his consistent training block. It's the one and only Jason Rossi. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, Croaks. How are you?
Good. How are the nerves?
I think I'm better than last year. Last year I was thinking about it all week and couldn't think of anything else during the lead up. And that was the first marathon I'd ever done. So a bit more, even though there's a lot more pressure, a lot more accountability this year, I'm more relaxed heading into it and I'm doing other things. So yeah, good.
And you're saying on off air that you've been smashing the cold and flu tablets. Are you sick or is it just that sort of race week where you're hypersensitive to everything?
I think hypersensitive, and I was having a little bit of a cold, got over it, and then my son Romeo was just coughing all day yesterday in the car, and then jumped into our bed at 2:00. So I got out and went to one of the other kids' beds, and then just woke up with a headache, just a bit phlegmy. So I was like, all right, went to the pharmacy. I said, I've got to run a marathon on Sunday. So just give me whatever I can take. So I've got some Codral Day and Night stuff and some Sudafed nasal spray as well. So just going to load up on that for the next 3 days.
Yeah. Yes, I look forward to hearing about your last training week. And also I believe that a fair few people have hit you up on Strava with some questions which we'll answer.
Yep.
But let's introduce tonight's special guest. She's the 2022 Commonwealth Games Marathon champion and Australia's third fastest marathoner of all time with a PB of 2:22.56. Welcome back to the Inside Running podcast, Jess Stenson.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, and although my intro had you as the pre-race favourite for the half, we've discovered 2 minutes ago there's been a bit of a development over the last week or two.
Yeah, there has been. I'll still be going to Ballarat and I will be participating, which I'm really excited to be a part of the event, but I won't be able to race, unfortunately, because it was about 2 weeks ago now. I came down with the flu and it was, I'd never had the flu before. It was influenza A. It was sort of the body chills and all of that. But then we had some trouble because Billy was unwell too. We were in Margaret River away from home. It was tough. He was having these tummy cramps. And so he ended up in ED a couple of times and, just didn't get sleep. And so then I kind of developed a sinus infection off the back of that. And it just took me out of training for 5 days, and then it's been quite a slow comeback. So I wouldn't have been able to race on the weekend, but touch base with the elite athlete coordinator, and he said, come anyway and be a part of it, which was awesome.
Yeah, and look, you'll be a valuable asset tonight for the listeners and also Jason, especially when it comes to answering those listener questions. So,
and I mean, these things happen. I've been pretty fortunate. I haven't had too many major illnesses before big events, but when I thought, do I still come on? I won't have too much to report in training. I thought, no, these are decisions and processes that runners have to go through before races sometimes, unfortunately. And so, we can talk about that.
Yeah, we actually had a listener question that hasn't been on the main show yet, but it was essentially, how do you deal with a non-injury related DNS when you've put a heap of work in? And let's say, Ballarat half's probably not super important for you, but let's say you get sick the week before one of your major marathons. How do you deal with that when you've put in all of that work and you can't compete? Is it any different to an injury-related DNS?
I think what's scary for me with an injury, I'd weigh up the risk versus reward, and you're kind of talking your physical health. But when you're lining up to compete and your lungs have been compromised or something, it could actually be life-threatening. So it's almost sometimes easier to perhaps pull out if you've had a serious illness. But then at what point do you know whether it is potentially harmful or not? I know Matt Clark, one of my training partners, had influenza A not too long before the Paris Olympics, and he still had to get on a plane and find a way to get himself right for the race. And he actually lined up, I think, quite confidently. But then when he got to that red line, he just had nothing to give. So sometimes you don't know how bad you are until you push yourself to your limit too.
Yeah. And a bit of a recap, so I know Brady interviewed you after Tokyo and you bounced back fairly well. You had that, what was it, bluff to boat race? So you got a 10K win there in 32.46 and then a sub 16-minute 5K win in Adelaide. Happy with how you bounced back since the marathon?
Yeah, I was happy. And this was always a period that I could take a bit more relaxed. And so I didn't get into a specific half marathon training phase for Ballarat. I was sort of enjoying just maintaining fitness with a Sunday long run and a couple of shorter sessions. And I knew, I might line up for this one, not feeling like I was as fit as perhaps the Melbourne half last year. But if I was going to get sick and miss a block of training, now was probably the time to do that. I'm ready to reload for some races sort of come winter and the second half of the year. So it was unfortunate, but I'm hoping I've got all the bugs out of my system now and we'll be strong for the rest of the year.
And what was it about Ballarat that appealed to you? Like, why did you decide you wanted to do it?
Yeah, I mean, Brady's done a pretty good job of selling it. I think
Valencia of the South.
Yeah, that's it. I think all of the talk and excitement around the race really appealed to me. And I've got a friend I studied physio with. She lives there with her family, and I thought it's a good opportunity to go and visit her and just be a part of a great local race. And I've had athletes I've coached over the years, do Ballarat and wanting to do it. And I think it really helps when you've seen it yourself and you've sort of felt the conditions. And so I'm really interested just to, experience the event.
Yeah. And do you want to take us through your last week of running? Have you run at all?
Yeah, I have. So we were leaving Perth. Dylan was competing in nationals in the 1500, really exciting nationals. He wasn't necessarily expecting to make the final. So we had been planning to drive down to Margaret River on Saturday and he made the final, which was great, but we didn't have accommodation that night. So he finished his race and at 7 p.m. we drove down to Margaret River. It ended up being a really late night by the time we got food and got the kids to sleep and everything. And then my brother was racing in the Canberra Marathon the next morning, which when you did the time difference, I think I woke up at 5 and had a look at the tracker thinking I'd go back to sleep. And once you start looking at a tracker, you can never go back to sleep. So tracked his race and then went out for my long run and it was all just too much after that. I fell off a cliff. So I took 5 days off, as I said. So today's Thursday. What was last Thursday? I can pretty much remember, what I've done in the last week. It's been all just 1 hour jogs other than Tuesday. I thought I'd try some 5-minute efforts and kind of tempo pace. I got to about 3:35 pace. I did 3 and then I was just feeling really fatigued. So I stopped there. And then yesterday being Wednesday was my first sort of longer run again. I got out for 85 minutes and then this morning did an hour with Caitlin. So it's been just a lot of jogging. And the thing I've found the most difficult is strength training. I've tried a couple of times to get back into just my online Pilates and I've been so weak. So that's the thing making me a bit nervous. I know for, your tendon health and everything, you need to get back into the strength work, but I've found that really hard.
Do you have a general rule of thumb when it comes to reloading after a sickness? Like, do you follow if you're going out and doing your first session back, do you look at heart rate, or is it just purely to feel?
Yeah, I was looking at heart rate. I also look at my overnight data. So we're a Garmin, but then I've also got an Oura ring. And if my heart rate is elevated and my temperature's elevated, I go out with caution. I like that data all to sort of return to pretty much normal before I do much with respect to training. So I'll generally start with a 20 to 30 minute jog on the treadmill so that I can jump off if things aren't feeling good. And then my next run, I might progress that to 45 minutes, either treadmill or out and about. And once I sort of get to the hour jog, I just try to maintain that each day until I feel ready to start a session. And that might mean like just stopped coughing or not as congested, or more of like an energy thing. But I find my tendons don't respond that well to rest. I've got a bit of a patella tendon and a proximal hamstring tendon that when I don't run for a while, they get a bit niggly. So I have to kind of get back into some routine jogging for them to settle, and then I can take the next step and get back into sessions.
Yeah, cool. All right. Got a few more questions for you later in the show, but I thought we'd move over to you, Jace. You can recap from 2 weeks out to 1 week out?
Yeah, yep, sure. So from 2 weeks out, what date are we? So the 14th would have been the Monday. It was a 35-minute easy run. It was 4:55 pace. So I went 7.1 Ks, nice and easy. The next one, I missed that. So it was going to be a 9K run, but I wasn't able to get to that one. And then I had a little taper session the next day, which was sort of a bit of a combo stuff. So I had 3K warm up into 6 strides, which I always do, and then 3 by 1K at threshold effort with 90 seconds walk recovery, and then 3 by 300 meters at 5K effort with 60 seconds walk recovery. So paces, I think, for that one, I went 4:12, 4:21, and 4:17 for the 1K at threshold, which is thereabouts. And then the 300 meters at 5K pace were a bit all over the shop. The 3:43 was the first one, then 4 minutes, then 3:40 was the third. But again, it's 300 meters, so it's sort of hard to gauge anything other than start running fast and then slow down for the last 200 meters. It seems to be how I pace myself. I can never get that speed right. And then just finish with a little 3K jog for that. But that was feeling all right. The next day...
Sorry, Jace, that session is like really, really short and light. Like when I sort of look at it, three 1K reps and 3 300s, like to me, that would almost be like a race week sort of session, not 2 weeks out.
I did. What did I do today? Oh, not today, yesterday. Where are we? It was similar, but it had a bit, I reckon, less. So I went 1,600. I'll get to it later, but 1,600, 1K, 800, and 500. So it was, again, pretty short. And it's just the warm up and cool down. All the Ks were in that, really.
Yep.
Then the next day was just 45-minute easy. So just started at Fika, which is a coffee shop in Ballarat, and then went up to Lake around it and back. It was just over 9Ks, and again 4:57 average pace. So about that 5-minute average is what I normally go for. The 18th would have been Good Friday, Ballarat Marathon Run Club. So that went from Runners Prep, which is sort of just like a running headquarters here in Ballarat that's just opened up. And we just ran 15 minutes up and 15 minutes back along the Yarrawee River Creek Trail. It was a good sized group. As it gets closer, there's another one tomorrow morning. So if I'm feeling up for that, I'll head along. But that was really good. I got a coffee machine, obviously, back where you start. And I think the chat, Adam come along to that, who's the head honcho for the Ballarat Marathon. So we probably spoke for an hour, ran for 30 minutes and spoke for an hour after it. So it was nice. And then I did a final marathon kit test on the Saturday. So as my long run. So it was, I think I did 3K warm up and then 10K at marathon pace, and then just like a cool down into 15.5 Ks. So I've got the actual marathon shorts and singlets. I'll be wearing those. I've got one of those. I've got a few of those nerd belts from Brady's mate Steve. So I had the one just with the gels on it. So I think I'll do that. I'll just have gels but no bottles. I tried the bottle one a few times too, but it gave me a sore lower back. But that could be down to me and just getting used to it. And I've sort of teed up a few people to be around the course, all 3 people that I'll be able to get bottles off. So that saves that. So I'll just have the gels on the belt. That went fine. Had the marathon socks, and they could be part of the issue that I had. But I wore the New Balance SC Elite V4s, and I got a blister on the back of my left heel. Right at the top of the shoe. I thought I had my feet taped by Simon from Newington's a physio, so he did that Good Friday, and so this was the next run after that, and I was like, oh, it's the tape, it must be rubbing or something. But then when I took the shoe off, I was like, oh no, that's where the shoe is. So I put that on Strava, and had a couple of people message me that they'd done the exact same thing in the exact same shoe. So yeah,
it's funny you say that, because the first time I wore that shoe, first session I did was a 3x5K 3-minute jog in between, and I got some blistering as well. But it's the only time that it ever happened, and I've been wearing it pretty much for all my treadmill sessions since almost a year ago now. And so how many sessions have you, or how many runs have you done in that shoe?
That's the second run. And the first one was the start of a long run. Wouldn't have been as quick, probably a little bit slower, but yeah, same sort of distance. So did people like Simon, who is the head of the pacing team, he messaged and said, put a bit of tape there, like the kinetic tape, whatever, and should be fine. So
could you wear longer socks? Was the blister where your shoe is rubbing on your skin?
No, so they're probably thinner than what I normally wear, I think, or they're a different material. So they're the Steigen. Is that the right way to pronounce it? Yeah. They're Steigen socks. I'd never worn them before. So it was the first time I'd worn those socks as well. I normally wear just Nike socks, like the running socks. But so I might try a bit of tape. I did try for the session I did yesterday. I did try the Alpha Ones again, just to see, maybe I'll do a late change and put those on because they tested the best.
This is not what you want race week. R&R.
But no, I prefer the New Balance. I'd like to prefer the Nikes, but I don't think they suit my running with either the Alpha 3s or the Alpha 1s. I just think I feel better in the New Balance ones. The paces that I was running felt easier, even if the testing sort of didn't show it. So I'll just, maybe it is the socks. I'll wear different socks, or I'll just put a bit of tape behind it.
Yeah, the other thought is, you said you had that foot taped. Was your other foot taped as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you didn't just get the blister on the side of the taped foot. I was going to say, could that have changed how your foot was sitting in the shoe or something? But no.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That too, maybe is pushing, and maybe it was tighter and it was pushing it up a bit, like the, I don't know, excess skin. I don't know how fat a foot is, but whether there could be something in that.
Yes, have you ever experienced where you've had blistering in a pair of shoes, but then the second, third time you've worn it, it hasn't been an issue? It's almost like a wearing in blister?
Yeah, I have had that, and in that Achilles region as well. So, hopefully it was just a bit of you getting used to the shoe, and you won't have that problem going forward.
Yeah.
Definitely look at the thicker socks, I reckon, Jace. Thicker socks. But I still think you want to go for the shoe that's going to be the most comfortable for 3 hours 15. Just because, as I said last week, if you're in a pair of shoes that become really uncomfortable, when things like, the marathon hurts as it is, and if you're starting to feel uncomfortable in a pair of shoes after 20K, that starts to, I reckon, take your focus away from the running part.
Yeah, for sure. I do like
but a blister's also going to cause issues.
I'll just forget about that part of it. I might, and then so then I had a rest day Sunday, 7K easy run on Monday, which I must gone away on the weekend and just came into that run so fresh. Maybe because I didn't do a long run and I've been doing all these long runs. I was just flying for no reason, and just sort of tried to slow down, but just kept going quick. So it was like 4:40 pace, which to you guys isn't quick, but for when I'm meant to be doing sort of 5 minutes, it was too quick. I just picked a random course, but run past my mum's house, and she'd been away. She got back the night previous, and she was actually out in the garden out the front. So I stopped and talked to her for 10 minutes. So that probably got the heart rate down. And then the last 10 minutes, I probably went the same speed, but at least it broke it up a little bit. And then the next day, I actually ran with Adam again, just from Lakeview, and we did a lap at the lake. I just had 6Ks easy. So we did that, and it was 5:02 pace, which is much better. There's lights around Lake Wendouree, so they've done this in the last few years, and it's awesome. So it's all lit up from 5 a.m. or 5:30. But for some reason last week, and I'm not sure this week, they haven't been working. So, or I don't know whether they're turned off or what's happening, but it was so dark. So you don't really realize how good it is until it went, and then no one had head torches or anything like that. But it's such a good thing when they are up and working, because so many people are out there. And then this would have been the last session that I did then. So the marathon week session. So it was just, to keep the legs ticking over, having plenty of recovery. So it was a 2K warm up, and then I did my strides. I ran 1,600 meters, and that was at 4:35 pace. And then I had a 90-second walk. Then I did a kilometer at 4:30 pace, and then a 90-second walk. Then 800 meters at 4:25 pace and a 90-second walk. And then I did 2 lots of 500 meters at 4:15 pace, and a 90-second walk in between the both. And then I did about 2K cool down after that. But that felt very light, the short little bursts compared to, some of those, 4x5K, 5x5K is definitely a lot easier for that.
And did the pace feel really comfortable for you?
Yeah, it did. So that I tried in the alpha ones and it felt really cruisy, and that's part of the race plan. I think early on, I'll go through the race plan as well. I don't know whether to do that now, but hoping it feels nice and easy on the day. Even the 4:15s, which I was I couldn't go under 40 minutes. I've never gone under 40 minutes for a 10K. I'm 41:40 or something like that. So that sort of pace was actually feeling really comfortable, and going below 4 now is a lot more comfortable than it has been. So fitness wise, I think I'm happy where I am.
Well, take us through your race plan, because I'm sure our listeners would be interested to hear, especially given, from pretty much early on, it's like, all my training sort of, I'm thinking maybe going at sub 3:10, which would be 18 minute PB.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I did 3:28 last year. And that was just a number I picked out of the sky too, to say when I picked up this coaching to go, I wouldn't mind going 3:10. So Chris Armstrong from Run to PB sort of he's put all the coaching together for it, and then he's put down a race day plan as well, which is just one of the benefits of having a coach, and interesting to get your feedback on it, you two as well, being experts in the field. So the plan is, I'll do a 1,500 meter warm up, really easy, just dressing warm. It will be cold in the morning. Just getting things moving. I'll do 5 80-meter strides, no harder than 10K effort, and then 1 200-meter stride at threshold effort as the warm-up. And then for the race day, he's just got me having gels at 8, 16, 23, 30, and 36K marks. And then to the paces. So the first 10Ks go out at 4 minutes 40 to 4:45. And it says there should feel very easy, and I think it will. And with all these, I read it like 4:40 to 4:45. My mind just goes, that'll be 4:40. And then 10K to 32K is 4:35 to 4:40 pace. And then the last 10Ks is where it says bring it home strong, aim to run 4:25 to 4:35. And if confident, bring the pace down gradually each kilometre. Every bit of energy that you save in the first 10 kilometres, you'll be able to use in the run home to go through the field in the last 10Ks. Be smart early, be brave late. So, and now I've done the maths on that, and it works out to like maybe 10 second or 12 seconds over 3 hours 15.
So you'll have a pacing group to go out with at the start at that 4:40 pace?
4:45 would be how fast? Would that be 3:20?
Yeah, so I did the sum. So basically your first 10K between 4:40 and 4:45s is in that 3:17 to 3:20 marathon pace. And then 4:35s to 4:40s for the 10K to 32 is 3:13 to 3:17 pace. And then the last 10K at 4:25s to 4:35s is 3:06 to 3:13 pace.
So you might not necessarily have packs, but hopefully you'll be running through the field and kind of having people to chase.
If I went the slow, like the 4:45 option for the first 10Ks, I would be with that 3:20 pace group. So that might be a smart move.
Yeah, I guess it depends.
I could even do the first 5K with
day too.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Plus, you'll have all of the half marathoners that are running. Like I think for that first lap, you'll have heaps of people around because marathoners, the half marathoners, all together. My question to you is like your first run of this week was 7K at 4:40s, which is essentially the faster end of your first 10K. Like, did that feel somewhat marathon rhythm?
Felt easy. And that's why I was trying to slow down, but I was just moving along.
I guess that was in heavier shoes as well.
I would have been in the Zoomfly 6. So I do most of my runs in those. I've had plantar issues along the way, and they're just a sort of the workhorse carbon plated shoe.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I like the plan. Last week, I sort of said one of the risks for you going all in on sub 3:10 is that often you have those A goal, B goal, C goals. Like if you go all in on the A and it's way too quick for you, you potentially come away and don't even run a PB, which you're in, you're easily in PB shape. Whereas I think setting this up is going to mean that, you're going to be really comfortable through halfway. And you're going to land somewhere in that, probably 3:15, 3:16, which is still like a big PB. And then the next one you go for sub 3:10. So I think it's smart.
Yeah. I think the biggest challenge is that you're picking up the pace at some of the points where mentally it's really hard, but maybe that's a good thing, having that change of pace to sort of almost anticipate or look forward to. And hopefully you will be feeling fresh and just feeling like you're ticking off those tasks that you've set for yourself and getting that positive reinforcement from passing people as well.
Yeah, I think the last 10 where I'd have to bring it home would be just before the lake. So I'd be able to get a bottle there as well. And it's just lap of the lake, which, it depends on the wind, but it could be a chance to just, pick it up a little bit and, whip around there.
Started your carb load?
No, tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lots of rice bubbles, crumpets. Like when I read it the first time, because I've been practicing it, when I read it, it was like 3 cups of rice bubbles and then 2 crumpets. And I'm not a massive eater. When I just put the rice bubbles in the bowl, I was like, that's a lot. You don't realize how much that is to put in a bowl.
But it is just like eating fluff, isn't it? There's not much to rice bubbles.
No, but it filled me up.
When did you start your carb load, Jess? How many days out from a Sunday marathon?
Yeah, so for a Sunday morning race, I don't have any specific meal that I eat on the Thursday night, but I probably would still avoid some sort of really heavy or rich meal. But officially, it starts on the Friday morning.
Yeah,
and that's a 2-day plan where I've just got what I have to eat in the day, and I just tick it off as I go.
Yeah. So Chris has done that for me as well. He's listed foods, which just makes it easy.
Good on him. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll just do the same thing. Like there's lolly snakes in there, there's bananas, there's sushi, and lots of rice.
Well, should we go to a few of the questions that you've been hit up on Strava about?
Yeah, and I've got a couple as well. Well, I've heard a couple of things that I might do that other people seem to do as well, and just thought I'd get your opinions. So one thing is taking Panadol and Nurofen the morning of the race, like as a preventative or a pain blocker before you start. Have you done that? Either of you two? Would you recommend doing it?
Yeah, I
haven't
have.
done it.
I take an ibuprofen. Sorry, not diclofenac as opposed to ibuprofen, though. So like the Voltaren type. Whether or not I have a niggle, I will just take that on the morning of with a meal, just because I know that at some point in the race, my tendons will start to generally hurt, and if that can just take the edge off. The Panadol I've heard is more effective for hot weather races. It can kind of reduce the perception of heat or something, but look, it's probably a little bit similar. If it can take the edge off, you might as well.
Yeah. The other one I had was GastroStop. People run into toilet issues. Has anyone ever taken a GastroStop, or has that been thought of?
No, I haven't taken GastroStop. So that like basically stops you from having the desire to go to the toilet, does it?
Yeah. So if you have gastro, it's like a cork.
Yeah.
That's
Could
the idea behind it.
End up with tummy aches instead, or?
Not sure. I'm not planning to take it. It was just one of the ones.
It's probably one you'd want to practice, I reckon.
Yeah.
You've never seen that on the circuit, Jess?
No.
Don't see GastroStop in the kit bags of the Kenyans.
Yeah. Oh, I love your description. It just acts as a plug. It just gives you a bad visual.
Yeah. That was two of them. What else did I have? Oh, there was people asking about, I guess, the course and the wind and how that's going to play out. So, and a bit of local advice. So I have to be the pretend expert there. So the day at the moment, I'm on BOM's website now, and it's minimum of 10, max of 16. So it's going to be, and it'll feel colder for sure in the morning.
Arm warmers, do you reckon?
Yeah. So the guy, Steve, or Coxie, lives across the road from me. His wife, Narelle, is one of the people who are going to have a couple of bottles for me. He's potentially going to wear gloves at the start and a long sleeve top, and then hand them off after about 10 Ks to her. So, yeah, if you've got the option, or even carry, like if you wear gloves at the start and just carry them for a lap and chuck them to someone, or get rid of them, depends how precious they are. But yeah, it will be cold. So yeah, even when you're warming up, I would say probably wear something long sleeve, or plan to be a little bit warm, or standing on the start line, it's probably going to be cold. So if you do have the option to do that, do it. There is a chance of a shower. I don't think it's too much rain planned. Possible rainfall is like 0 to 1 millimeter. So I don't think there'll be. If there is, it'll be very slight. The wind,
30% chance here on the bomb.
Yeah, and that has to be during the time of your race and everything. So you can't really plan for that anyway. If it happens, it happens. The winds southerly 20 to 30 kilometers. They were southwesterlies earlier in the week, and they've gone to southerlies. So southerly means it's going to be coming across Sturt Street, which is where you run up and down. So it'll be coming sort of across. It'll be fairly well protected most of the way. When you're going into Vic Park, you're going to be running head, like the first turn when you go into Vic Park, you're going to be head on. So that'll be a headwind there, but you will get the benefit coming back towards Sturt Street. Where the southerly is just the worst is on the north side of the lake. Because it's just going to be whipping across with no barrier right across the lake and hitting you on the north side of it for about probably 1 to 1.5 Ks. It will be sideways. So if it's coming southeasterly, it's even worse because then it's hitting you in the front. But yeah, it's not ideal. That's for sure. 20 to 30 kilometers also not ideal. So earlier in the week, it was like 10 to 15, 15 to 20, and it was southwesterly. It was coming from the west. It would hit you up Sturt Street, but it wouldn't be as bad, I don't think. But yeah, southerly is not what we want on the lake.
I feel like a bit can still change between now and Sunday.
Let's all hope.
Hopefully in the right direction.
Yeah. So like a westerly wind would hit, you'd have it head on up Sturt Street, but you could be in a pack going up there, and it's protected at the lake, so it would be fine. Northerly, you're protected most of the way, apart from a little bit in Vic Park. But yeah, southerly is not ideal. So maybe just get ready for a K of the lake. It could be tough.
And from your experience, like Ballarat is known as being windy. So if it says, 20 to 30K is a significant wind, like in Ballarat, does that feel even worse?
I'd say it's probably that we just get more of those wins. So yeah, it probably feels windier in Ballarat because it's more common to be like that.
I guess you can't change it. You got to deal with it. And that's where I think your race plan's smart, by being really conservative early. Because I think where people get in trouble is they have this particular time in their head, and regardless of the conditions, they just go out at that. And, it's very hard to, like, obviously if you're going to run slower in 20 to 30K wins than you would if it's still. So you need to factor that in somewhere in your race plan.
Yeah,
I thought
it's
an
interesting
example was last year's Gold Coast Marathon. It was a headwind for the first, I don't know, when's the turnaround? Is it like 15 Ks in or something?
About that, yeah.
And then people had a tail after that. But a lot of people had a tough day because I think they just worked so hard into the headwind that when they turned around and had the tail for the next, I don't know, 30 Ks or something. Yeah, well, not quite 30, obviously, but they had a tail for a significant portion. They'd already sort of cooked themselves.
Yeah, and that's, I think, we didn't have a coach. Like if I didn't have a coach and I had 3 hours 10 in my head, I would be going at that pace the whole way around. Like it'd be my goal, my plan would be, all right, run it 4 minutes 30 from and follow the pacer, like because that's what they'll be doing. They're going, 22:30 every 5Ks. That's their plan. Which if you're fit enough to do that, that's fine. But if you run into, a really strong part, a 1 kilometre section where you probably need to slow down and you can pick it up going back the other way. That's where we maybe need to be a little bit smarter.
Yeah. And also I think for the masses, because, especially in that first lap, there's going to be a fair bit of depth at whatever pace you're running at, because you do have the half and the marathons. It's like, just be disciplined to get shelter. Don't be the hero on the front of the pack. Just hide when it's windy.
It's also something, I mustn't have written it in here. Chris did write that. It's something about don't be the guy at the front of the pack the whole way around. Don't try and run off the front and be the leader or anything like that. Just hang behind groups. Find packs where you can, is what he said. Yeah, find packs where you can. Don't try and be setting the pace everywhere. And I think that could be, whether you share it around a few people when you are going around the backside of the lake to, do a couple hundred meters, then drop back and everyone just rotates through. It might make it easier.
Yeah, for sure.
For all.
Any other questions?
I think, I don't know what I wrote down. I think that's all of them. I've had some more updates from Adam though as well. I think about numbers. So the 10K is just sold out like tonight. So it's 1,750 people are in that field. There is 2,816 people registered for the Running Warehouse Marathon and 3,395 for the Fed Uni half. So I don't know whether I've got a total there. I should add all this up. The mass mile, there's 434 people in that. There's 22 elite males in the elite mile, which is the road mile championships for Australia. And then there's 16 elite females in their Australian Road Mile Championship. So that'll be cool too. That's on the Saturday. There's 34 elite juniors in their elite mile. And then the Courier 5K, there's 748 in the mass. And then there's 8 elite females and 17 elite males. So there's plenty of people in there. It's going to be interesting. And I think we said last week that in its second year, it's going to be top 5 marathon in Australia, and there's potential for it to overtake Canberra, depending how many people finish the marathon. And because the half marathon sold out, there may be a lot of DNFs after halfway, hopefully not. But there might be people that have entered a full marathon and just going to stop after halfway. But that, it's so encouraging for the event and for the city itself. Croak said last week I'm doing a bit of blog for the local paper as well, and that's sort of the thing. I think the local community is just now embracing it. Like this, the first year, sort of people are like, oh, the roads are shutting. This is a bit inconvenient. the numbers are huge this year. There'll be a lot of locals in it. There's heaps of warning about people know the roads are closing. People know this event's not going anywhere as well. So there's the expo is going to be way better. There's some really cool stuff happening. They start setting up after all the Anzac Day sort of things happen in the city tomorrow morning. Then I'll start setting up, and then I think the expo opens at 12 o'clock, maybe tomorrow, and that's when you can start picking your bib up. So, yeah, all systems go.
I imagine the atmosphere has been pretty cool out in the mornings, just everyone training, and you all kind of would know that you've got this big event coming up, and it would have, developed a lot of friendships and everything out there as well.
Yeah, that's what, and just so many like running groups, or there's running groups going from the same place at the same time. You're seeing the same people out every day. Everyone's talking about it. There's so many people out running, which is great. My wife wants me to scale back after the marathon. It's like, because I'm going sort of 6 days, but it's like, I've got a group on Monday, I go with a group Tuesday and Wednesday, and then there's the Friday group, and then the long runs on the weekend. It's like, how do I drop one? But yeah, that's the great thing about running that I've found over the last 18 months is just all these extra friendships you pick up, and the whole community of running. You don't even have to know the person. There's been runs where I'll be running by myself and someone will just tag along and have a chat for a kilometre and then, go their own way. So no, it's really cool.
I reckon that Saturday afternoon, those elite races will be pretty cool atmosphere. Like obviously all the marathoners, half marathoners will get down there to watch that, and those that are interested in times, the 5K elite women's on at 3:15, men's is at 3:45, and then the Australian Road Mile champs are basically between 5 p.m. and 20 past 5. So that should be a pretty good atmosphere on the roads there on Saturday afternoon.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I'll head down there and have a look at that. That'd be really cool.
And Jess, I don't know if we spoke about what your plans are now for the half in terms of like a rough pace.
Yeah, so I have a friend running in the full marathon, and because we start at the same time, I sort of messaged her earlier this week and just said, what pace are you hoping to run? Would you like a pacer? And she is running at a pace that she thinks will be just off the back of one of the pacing groups. And now hearing that it's windy as well, I feel like hopefully I'll be of even more use. So it just gives me something to, I guess, feel like I'm contributing to the race and someone's race in a positive way. So it'll be fun to jump in and help set her up for her 350 per K. Hopefully I can handle that. And knowing that there'll be some headwinds there, I'll know when I've got to get in front and really be the workhorse.
And in terms of races after Ballarat, is there anything you can share with the listeners in terms of like a rough plan for the next few months afterwards?
Not really at the moment, and that's because I haven't actually had many confirmed. That a couple of sort of domestic halves, I don't think it's sort of they've released the fields or anything yet to be able to talk about them. But as for marathon races, I actually haven't got anything confirmed. I think world selections will be happening soon, but then some other races that I'm interested in, I just don't know yet. Who they're inviting to be a part of it. So we'll see. It has just been a nice time though to kind of try and stay fit without knowing exactly what I'm preparing for, because when you do know what race you're doing, you suddenly become very focused on that. And I would have certainly been a bit more stressed getting sick if I knew what races I was actually preparing for. So hopefully by probably mid-May, I'll know what races I'm doing.
Yeah. And Jason, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Often on these Road 2 series, the last episode before the race, we often talk about what's, your A goal, B goal, C goal. So essentially, what would you be absolutely over the moon with on Sunday in terms of like, I'm so stoked with this time? B's like, yeah, it's okay. And then anything slower than C, it's like, I'm pretty disappointed with that time given what I've put in.
Yeah, okay. I'll try and do it without sounding, it's like arrogant from my PB point of view, but definitely not from, I guess, your elite times. So I feel sort of if I was to give myself a line before I had that, like that sort of race plan, I would have said 3:13:30 was probably where I think I was at. So I think if I could run that down, that would be unreal. But that will depend how I'm feeling at 30 Ks and what the wind and everything's like, and how much I've got in the legs, because the last section, the last 2 Ks is going to be downhill. A kilometre of it is a good downhill. When you go to Lydiard Street, which you sort of turn left and do a U-turn, it is a little bit of uphill there, but if you can carry some momentum. So I think you could go, if you have anything in the legs, especially the half, you could really pick up a little bit of time down there. So that would be A. B would be like the 3:15 low, somewhere there. And C, I think under 3:20, I'd be happy. If it went over 3:20, that's when I'd take a day or two to be happy with it, I think.
Okay.
I can't be, if I'm over 3:28, I'm probably not finishing. I'll take the bib off and just keep running. But that's, I think that in my mind, that would be where I'm at. I think 3:20 would be, if things go wrong in the early part, or I've gone too hard or a blow up or something, I think even when I've blown up, I think I can still hold a pace that would get me through in 3 hours 20.
Then even 3:21 still a 7-minute PB.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. That's an 8-minute PB if I go 3:20. So that's where the arrogance side I'm saying, like, it's, and I know from me last year, 3 hours 30 is such a milestone, I think, for a rec runner or someone that's not like, just doesn't have the genetics or the years and years of running behind them. A 5-minute pace is a pretty standard thing. So I think a 3 hour 30 marathon I was really happy with that last year. So I can't then go and say, if I did 3:28, like, it sounds real harsh to be upset with that, but just because of all the work I've done, I think this year I would be. I think that is a really good goal. 3:30, 4 hours, and different people have, different levels they can get to as well. So, Brady, if he goes around in 2 hours 30, is probably going to be pretty disappointed where that's phenomenal for 99% of the population. So
I guess that's a good thing about running, isn't it? Like, it's all relative. I know I got lapped at Zatopek, but broke 30 minutes for the first time, and I was probably as happy as the guy that won the race and qualified for the Olympics that night. So
and that's what I said earlier. I think it was off air, Brady, where, like, me picking 3:10 and the difference between that and 3:15, it's only in my head. Like, no one else. If I tell someone on the street, I did a 3 hour 10 marathon or a 3 hour 15 marathon, it's the same thing to them. And 3 hour 30 is probably about the same thing as well. There's no real, it's a real personal thing. Or, within your friendship group, you might have a few people. I reckon Lance is just trying to go 1 second quicker than me. That I run with pretty regularly. So that's his goal. That's his A, B, and C goals. But no, it should be a really good day out. Hopefully the wind dies down a little bit, or it picks up late. That was the other thing I was saying earlier in the week, is that it'll pick up sort of late morning. So hopefully we can miss the most of it, or get through the first lap without too much. Jess, you'll be fine. You'll be finished before it even starts.
Just control what you can control.
That's it.
All right. Well, I think that's probably a good place to finish up. Good luck, Jace.
Thank you.
Best.
Thank you. Thanks, Jess.
Jess.
Thank you.
And then, next week we'll have Moose on doing the recap with you, Jace, and hopefully we'll get a winner or two on as well, just to chat about the event. But thanks again for giving up some time, and Moose will be back next week.
No problem. Thanks, Croaks. Appreciate it.
See ya. Bye.
Thanks,
See you,
Jess.
Jess.
Bye.
Ballarat's world-class road running festival returns bigger and better across the weekend of 26th and 27th of April. You can still get entries for the full marathon, 10K, 5K or mile races. Registrations are coming in from all over Australia, so don't delay. Sign up today, ballaratmarathon.com.au.